Odyssey probably isn't for you if you've never heard of One Piece or have just watched a few episodes of the anime. It assumes familiarity with the anime's characters, their skills, and their backstories, and is set about 750 episodes into the series. Additionally, the game spends the majority of its time recreating the events of 4 main plot arcs, with new narratives for each of these replayed adventures. One Piece Odyssey is a success, establishing itself as the most ambitious title and greatest adaptation thus far, despite some missteps along the way with unnecessary padding and repetition. One Piece Odyssey gives players the chance to control every Straw Hat and use their special skills in a combat system similar to Final Fantasy X. Odyssey gets off to a solid start with an engaging introductory story and a brand new island that integrates into Eiichiro Oda's existing mythology. The crew of One Piece Odyssey reunites with old friends from their past. One of One Piece Odyssey's distinctive features is its beautifully produced cutscenes and location, unique enemy designs, and overall tale that ties everything together within the One Piece universe. Even though the plot they follow is well known, the unique twists and turns keep things interesting for fans of the original One Piece manga story. But extra padding and repetition can somewhat cancel out these significant moments. This is especially apparent in the first half of Alabasta, as the player will frequently return to the same location for unclear reasons without the use of a fast travel system. However, after Alabasta reaches its turning point, the narrative of the game takes up speed, and the other memories don't have the same degree of repetition. One Piece Odyssey could have easily fixed this issue with some expanded side quests or new regions to explore. One Piece Odyssey's dungeons and villages are enjoyable to explore and poke around in, despite being mainly linear. Each character in the overworld has a unique way of interacting with others. Sanji can smell fresh food from a mile away, Zoro can slice through metal bars, Frankie can build bridges over specific gaps, and Luffy can span gaps with his flexible rubber arms. A lot of the time, talking to the NPCs is worthwhile. One Piece Odyssey battles begin similarly to other games, with 4 of your characters trading punches with a horde of foes, but the size is different. A separate enemy group of up to 4 enemies can be engaged by each party member in their own area of the battlefield. While some attacks may only be used against nearby enemies, others can be utilized to damage distant enemy or go meathead bowling by hitting one mook into their close friends. Dramatic scenes, a surprise bonus objective, is an additional twist. The game will probably ask you to finish an enemy with a certain character or save a crew member from a powerful charge-up attack. A significant increase in experience points can be gained by completing these tasks, and sometimes the system is also used to add a little more personality to the combat. If Sanji and Zoro are standing side by side, their rivalry may lead to some chit-chat and the full recharging of their technique points. Fighting rapidly turns into repetitive and formulaic, despite the weaponry triangle and dramatic scene system, which adds cute minor objectives to the more repetitive encounters. This is further complicated by a complex equipment system that makes it challenging to navigate and unnecessarily complex to take full benefit of the extra materials collected along the route to buff up the Straw Hats. Even for those who only choose to take on a few of the optional lower-level foes throughout the game, it's incredibly simple to become overpowered in One Piece Odyssey, even in the toughest boss battles. The scary villains that are regarded as nearly unbreakable in One Piece may fail in the face of a strong party composition if there is no option for difficulty or level scaling. There isn't anything wrong with this technically, other from the lack of support for ultra-wide monitors. Both a gamepad and a mouse and keyboard work nicely, and there is a decent selection of graphic and control options. Although some cutscenes only run at 30 frames per second, It also supports higher frame rates, which looks amazing in combat. For consistency and battery conservation, you should definitely limit the game's frame rate on a Steam Deck. But aside than that, you shouldn't experience any issues. One Piece Odyssey is a great adventure that plays to its strengths even though it isn't the most ideal one. This is a great addition to the JRPG genre, and one that I think you should check out whether you're a huge One Piece fan or just a fan of JRPG, despite a few bad gusts pushing the ship away from the harbor of being a perfect experience. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below.